final note, let's move over to the issue of cash. This is the UTAD where there's so much demand for cash. And as the Naira has been redesigned, the CBN came up with a follow-up policy to say that from next year that there are limits to withdrawal limits. And lots of groups, people have been expressing their concern about that area. We talked about that last week, and but right now, it's like amongst the group that are more worried are POS operators, cash hawkers, and even some persons who are into small businesses because of how much they transact with cash. Now, yesterday, being the 15th of December 2022, that, as the CBN promised, the new redesigned Naira came into circulation, but report has it that most banks ran out of cash because the demand was so high. A lot of persons wanted to exchange the old Naira note for the new Naira note. Now, how do you see all of this playing out as we get to a time where there will be withdrawal limits? Yeah,
just trying to put a background to this. I don't know if I've heard so many commentaries on it, and sometimes I feel that most of us are too elitist in our views. Most of us have become too theoretical. You listen to so many commentaries and you hear is to push the cashless policy, or that's the way the world is going now. Yeah, I think we've gone to school too much, and we are now almost divided or taken away from what the reality is. Because look at these countries we are comparing ourselves with. It was the internet penetration of the country. It was January, it was 38%. Though I was reading a report that it has increased to 44.5% in July. I have my doubts about that because from January to July, 38%. But let's even work with 44.5% without assuming that's the right figure. And you're 44.5, that's less than 50% of the population. And it said that 46.6% of our total population in the rural area. So it's just like putting the cart before the horse. You put the cart, just like a truck, before the horse. So who is going to drag who? So we've not taken care of internet penetration issues. So how do people in the rural areas carry out this trans? Even in the urban areas. You have, I bought rice just last 2 weeks, half bag of rice from home, and without exaggeration, it took me 30 minutes before she confirmed my payment. Before she got alert. I had to wait. In fact, it happened some months ago. The rain wanted. I was regretting why I even did that transaction because I had cash with me. Just I wanted to do something else. So you wonder, these are problems that, and most times I hate to be a prophet, someone that speaks that's a bit negative. But I can assure that it's going to have very, very terrible impact on the economy. Probably in the short run, I don't know. It's going to slow down economic activity. We are in a state where we are looking at how to ramp up GDP, how to ramp up economic activity. There's going to be a massive slowdown in economic. You are going to be having transactions hanging. We are already struggling with our 4G network. When you look at 4G network, it drags as if it's 3G network. And now the pressure is not much on it. You are going to have fallout on the economy. People are not savvy, internet savvy. And there are some people who you tell you want to transfer, you say, no. They've had terrible experiences with transfer. When you go to WhatsApp group, when you read people have had 20,000, 50,000 that they are still dragging from their banks till tomorrow. They've written different memos to CBN. And that's on the economic angle.
When transactions fail?
When it fails. Sometimes, when it fails, sometimes it hangs. Sometimes the bank tells you that it left your account. That is, they will even show you the laptop and see that it left, but it didn't drop on the other side. And they say it's CBN issues. You have to have had one that I pursued for over 2 months. So that's on the economic side. Slowdown of GDP. We are going to have massive reduction in GDP figures from now on. Even the bankers themselves, it will probably lead to job losses in the bank. Because you look at the bank, you have some bank, you have 6 tellers, cashiers paying cash. And you are now reducing cash withdrawals to 20. So it means that substantially you are reducing transactions in the bank. That's what it means. So it means that a bank who is trying to cut down profit would not keep 6 tellers because of your 20,000 that you are going to take a day. So there will definitely be a cut down in bank tellers. Then you have pressure so much on the customer care angle. So it's going to lead to so many of that. Then you sometimes you wonder, is this really our problem so much? I just think, I didn't have a chance to talk about the reprinting of the currency. It's first of all, that's where the problem came in, because this withdrawal limit is just a follow-up to that. The essence was to They say they want to bring in money from the public into the banking sector. So this withdrawal limit is aimed at, so that it doesn't go back to what it was before. Let's put a limit to it. So the problem that, first of all, the reprinting was even a luxuriant project. That's not our problem. CBN says 2.7 trillion is outside in the hands of individuals. But we have 46 trillion money in supply, total money in supply. So 2.7 trillion of 46 trillion. That's just about 5 or 6%. Is that the problem? The problem is that you have 24 trillion that government has borrowed from CBN through what they call ways and means, that the government is owing the central bank, 24 trillion. The problem also is that you have 21 trillion that government has borrowed as domestic debt through treasury bills and so on. So those are the major problems. 24 trillion ways and means, 21 trillion through domestic debt. That gives you about 43 trillion. So that's the problem, not the 2.7 trillion that is with some people in the banks. That's not what is, yes, exactly. That's not what is causing inflation. The fact that you have taken that 42 trillion out of 46 trillion out of circulation that should be in the hands of business and so on is the problem. So we have CBN just pursuing and chasing shadows and so on. So how does it, I've heard commentaries also that it would reduce inflation. I wonder how, because what's inflation? I think the problem is that most of us are still doing...
The thinking may be that since they have the Naira note redesigned for 200 Naira, 500 and 1,000, but the ATM and POS does not issue the 1,000 Naira note. It issues 200 Naira notes and lower denominations. Yeah. So maybe since you don't have much of that, it may result in people doing reducing price and maybe doing more business with that.
Yes, and that thinking is also in line with the faulty definition of inflation that we had. You know, and that's why we've talked about redesigning our curriculum. We are still carrying curriculums of 1979 and 98. They taught us then, SS1, that inflation is too much money pursuing few goods. That's the definition they gave us. But when you look at inflation, textbook definition, that is the persistent and consistent and steady rises in prices of goods and services. That's inflation. So you now have what causes inflation. That's when this too much money pursuing food, which is demand pull inflation. You have cost push inflation. You have galloping inflation. You have imported inflation. So we are just narrowing the definition of inflation to demand pull, which is too much money chasing few goods. So if you are narrowing it to that's when you, but even at that, too much money chasing few does not mean too much cash. So if I can transfer 20,000, I can transfer 50, that's too much money also purchasing. Yes, okay. Because my purchase, the too much money means purchasing power. So it does not change. So that's why I don't see the effect of redesigning or withdrawing. It does not have any effect on inflation. It's neutral because it will even add to it, because just practical experience. Meet an Igbo or a trader, for example, and tell him that I want to buy this thing, 300. I say, no, it's 250. And it's 350, and you say, no, 300 I get. Once you bring out cash, most times it has a psychological effect.
It convinces.
I'm telling you, it can just remove as much as 10,000 from me just because he has seen cash. Sometimes he just says, see the money where demand, and he takes it. But when you now start talking out, you say, transfer now. When you say, I don't get money, you say, go see POS for it. It almost nullifies any argument that you have that you don't have money. So for me, I think it will even aggravate the inflation if we are now talking about practical terms. But going to the POS because of time, I think that's taking those people from business also, because the POS man has a limit of 20,000 naira. It means that if he's to withdraw more than 20,000, they said there's a processing fee of 5%. Yeah, so 20,000, 5% is 1,000 naira. So it means that if he's to go, of course, a POS person will need 200,000, for example, minimum to service. So if he's taking 200,000, 5% is about 5,000 naira. So it means that if he's giving you, he has lost 5,000 now when he was collecting. So it means 195,000 real cash is what is following. So that means he has to recoup that first when he's giving to you. Before, I think it's is it 1,100 now for one time? I don't different. It varies with different
when you withdraw, usually it used to be within the range, depending on the area, but generally, or in most areas, you find that from between 1,000 to 5,000 naira, attracts a charge of 100 naira, and then from 5,000 to 10,000 attracts a charge of 200 naira. So it goes up that way.
So definitely, what it means that the POS person will have to cover his 5% cost that he has incurred, or that the bank has incurred him there, then before he gets his profit. So generally, we see that would literally push them out of business, because it's now a double cost, the 5% cost, then his profit. So people would prefer to just do either transfer or go to the bank And it has a tendency. So as for POS, I know it just technically pushes them out of business, technically. And as for individuals, it's going to, I don't know, it might just create an apathy for banking. People will just now begin to start to lose interest in banking because it's almost stifling. You have money. Between now and January 9th, I'm just of the opinion that people will look at it, especially those who are not internet savvy, and will just, Kukuma just go and carry their money from their bank and put it somewhere. Either they put it at home or give the OIDA people, the informal people who do the OIDA, so that they can collect their money whenever they want to.
But that cash is at risk. What if you give your money to some of them and you don't get the money when you need them? The person disappears.
Yeah, it is. So those are the things that I wish, I hoped that the CBN could have considered. Yeah, they should have given some time to increase internet penetration, because this internet penetration thing is going to be a problem. You go to the rural market, for example. I go to Bogyoba and I want to buy gari, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. I need to buy about yams and everything is about $40,000. In fact, $40,000 is above my limit for the day. How do I transfer money to the woman? And the informal marketing is more in Nigeria. So I don't know why they didn't do this research. How many of us, how many malls, how many of us go to the supermarkets to buy tomatoes? It's in advanced countries that you go to supermarket malls to buy almost everything. The informal market is still very, very popular here. Our yams and everything is done at New Benin, it's done at Ecusa. We don't go to, without mentioning name, to malls to do our shopping. In fact, we are about 2 or 3 million people in Edo State. We have literally just about 5 or 6 or 7 big supermarkets in the state. So it cannot service us. And the New Benin woman, is not going to, you put knife on her neck, she's not going to do internet transaction with you. She's not going to do that. When you hear all these markets born, then you see who these women crying. They are not crying after many keep their money in their markets. They keep the money in the market. I know of Olia market, I had a neighbor who sells goats. They keep, that's why you see them, they tie all this red rope and just to scare. Many keep their money that they are not going to do bank transaction with you for the life of the. You buy orange or onions from the Aboki man. He's not going to. When you look at the BVN registration, statistics show that just 54.7 million people have registered for BVN.
So 54.7.
Yeah, 54.7, and we are a population of over 250. Let's say the adults are about 170 million people. So it means 170 million minus 54, it's about 150 million. So a large percentage, about 60% of us are unbanked. So this policy, that's why I say it's putting the cart before the horse. I know it's going to, we've heard people say, we'll adjust. Yeah, we always adjust. But at what cost? The last time we adjusted to BDCs, CBN banned BDCs, took their licenses from them. We adjusted, but at what cost? Dollar is now exchanging at 700. We adjusted to, they closed border the last time. Yeah, we would adjust, but at what cost? Rice is now 46 now for a bag, at 7,000 now. So we would adjust, but the harm is going to be very, very terrible. You go to village market, you want to buy, and you are not able to transfer. The woman say, I don't have bank, I can't transfer.
So in a nutshell, it will make the transactions difficult and more expensive.
It's going to slow down transactions, it's going to slow down economic activity, it's going to slow down GDP. And for a developing economy, that's dangerous. So we are trying to solve, I don't know what the CBN said they are trying to solve. We've heard that because of election and so on. That's even outside the scope of monetary policy. It's fiscal policy issue. But in order to solve one thing, you now go and hurt economic growth. I think it's counterproductive.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, since election is around the corner, February, let's hope that if this policy goes through, maybe we just have to rethink that after elections. But let's see how the policy runs. January 9th is when it's supposed to start, and let's see how businesses pick up when the policy becomes effective. That's the show today. Thank you very much, Dr. Sazayua, for being on the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
My name is Blessing Aiche. Enjoy your weekend.